I believe we're all here. It's about 6:30, so I'd like to get started. Deputy Clerk Schultheis, would you read the preamble for us, please?
Yes, thank you. In accordance with the applicable statutes of the State of Illinois and ordinances of the City of Prospect Heights, notice is hereby given that the City Council regular meeting of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Prospect Heights is being held on Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, at 6:30 PM, in person in the Council Chambers, Prospect Heights City Hall,
Yeah.
8 North Elmhurst Road,
But
Prospect
does
Heights,
that go,
Illinois,
does that go away?
and
or-
simulcast for viewing on Zoom. Acting Mayor Matthew Dolick presiding. This meeting will be broadcast live on the following cable channels: Comcast and WOW Channel 17 and AT&T U-verse Channel 99. It will also be recorded and televised on Comcast and WOW Channel 17 and AT&T U-verse Channel 99. Attendees who wish to speak on agenda or non-agenda items will be provided an opportunity during the meeting. There is a 5-minute time limit for speakers.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting for the City Council regular meeting being held today, Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, at 6:32 PM in the City Council chambers in the City of Prospect Heights. Madam Clerk is absent this evening, so Deputy Clerk Schultheis, would you conduct a roll call, please, to establish a quorum?
Yes, thank you. Alderman Cameron,
Here.
Alderman Lovickson,
Here.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Here.
Alderman Dash,
Here.
Mayor and Alderman Dolick,
Here?
Treasurer Tibbetts,
Here.
and Clerk Pajazniuk is out by previous notification.
All right, thank you. All 5 aldermen are with us this evening, so we do have a quorum. Corporal Diol, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? All right, thank you, everyone. The first item of business is the approval of minutes. If we could have an omnibus motion to approve the September 12th, 2022 City Council Workshop Meeting minutes, along with the September 21st, 2022 Joint CEA Wheeling and Prospect Heights Workshop minutes. Could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
So, okay. Second, Morgan Adams?
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections by anyone? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Lovickson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Next item is presentations. This evening, we do have quite a number of officers with us this evening. This is a presentation of the Police Awards by Police Chief William Caponegro, and I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. This is my first opportunity to give an award. I'll call my children because I'm old enough to be their father. It's a very proud moment for myself personally and Deputy Chief Milo, as well, I'm sure everyone sitting up here and out there. So first award, Milo is going to call everybody up. We're gonna have them up. I'm gonna read a few things and then you can applaud them or throw them money, whatever you want to afterwards. The following officers step off to my left: Detective Sergeant Lang, Corporal Diol, Detective Zitkus, Officer Farina, and Officer Savas, who is not. Okay, these officers are receiving a unit citation award. This award is all these officers work together as a group. I'm going to read the details in a minute, but not only did they apprehend a person with a gun, the information that was given to them moments before this occurred, so keep that in mind. They didn't have enough time to run over every possible scenario that could happen, run criminal histories on the subjects they're looking for. This happened very quick, and so after I read this, you're going to understand what a great job each and every one of them did. Whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the above named sergeant, corporal, detective officer was part of a unit that displayed exceptional teamwork by working together toward the successful resolution of a critical incident. Whereas, on July 18, 2022, at approximately 19:30 hours, Detective Sergeant Lane received information that several local gang members were loitering at the Willow Trails Park located at Apple Drive and Burning Bush Lane. One of the gang members was alleged to be holding a loaded Glock pistol. Due to the amount of innocent children in the park, Detective Sergeant Lane, Detective Zickus, Corporal Deal, Officer Savis, and Farina immediately coordinated a plan of action for the investigation. As officers approached from all sides of the park, the gang members began to flee. Officer Farina observed one of the fleeing subject right away on a bicycle. Officer Farina observed a black handgun on the waistband of the fleeing suspect. The juvenile suspect was subsequently apprehended. Officer stopped and identified 8 other gang members on the scene. Therefore, due to these officers' teamwork, training, quick thinking, and professionalism, a dangerous armed gang member was arrested and a stolen loaded handgun was removed from the street. That juvenile was charged with 2 felony possessions of a stolen handgun and unlawful use of a weapon. Based on the awards and commendation program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, and because of the officer's professional and diligence in the consummating of this arrest, I am pleased to present you with the Prospect Heights Unit Citation Award.
Will Officer Garza please step up?
Busy Miss Garza, that's what we call her. I'm gonna read you the incident that happened, where she's a very good DUI officer. She's instructor for that. She's our go-to for any questions that officers might have, and she's out there looking for it. If you can imagine somebody driving a 2-ton bullet is what I call it, so we need officers like her. So let me get this started. Whereas it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that Officer Garza displayed initiative and attentiveness to duty decidedly in the excess of the norm. Whereas on July 18, 2022, Officer Garza was on routine patrol at East Old Willow and she observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. Officer Garza initiated a traffic stop and approached the vehicle to speak with the driver. Upon speaking with the driver, Officer Garza observed the driver to have unkept hair, dilated pupils, sweat beads running down his face, and his shirt to be inside out. I've done that without being intoxicated. Officer Garza utilizes her drug recognition expert, DRE training, to look for clues of impaired drug driving and continue with her investigation. Upon further investigation and administration of standard field sobriety tests and DRE tests, Officer Garza determined that the driver was under the influence of drugs. Following the driver's arrest, Officer Garza located approximately 2.5 grams of cocaine in the vehicle and learned that the driver had consumed Adderall and for driving his vehicle. It's not a good mixture. Officer Garza's investigation arises out of a routine traffic stop resulted in the arrest of a drug driver and the seizure of narcotics. But most importantly, the removal of a very dangerous driver from the public roadways. Thank you, Officer Garza.
Good job. Will the following officers please step up? Corporal Diol, Officer Caganis, Officer Garza, Officer Blanco, and Officer Laird.
So this is another unit, this is a crime prevention unit honorable mention for these officers. And there's no arrest involved here, but because that's not all we do as a police department, these guys really get how we work with the community, education, events, a huge part, as you all know up here, it's a huge part of our department. And These officers have done a terrific job. So Crime Prevention Unit, officers up here, we have Prospect Heights Community Day. They were involved with the Rolling Meadows Car Show, law enforcement torch run, Prospect Heights Police Department outreach trips, and Prospect Heights Block Party. If I'm not mistaken, every one of you had your own event to manage, and this was done, by the way, without, we have Shayna now here as help coordinating that, but all these events were done without help of somebody inside the station. So they, not only did they organize these events, they were involved in it more deeply than the past year, so these guys really did a terrific job. Whereas it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the Prospect Heights Police Department Crime Prevention Unit displayed exceptional performance in the organization, planning, and execution of the above listed events. Whereas during 2022, Corporal Deal, Officer Calvanese, Officer Garza, Officer Blanco, and Officer Barrett went above and beyond the norm through their outstanding personal efforts in organizing, planning, and executing many community events. With the absence of the Prospect Heights Police Department Administrative Coordinator, these PHPD officers stepped up and assumed all the duties of organizing and planning community events, both during the free and duty time. The men and women of the Prospect Heights Police Department salute the Prospect Heights Police Department Crime Prevention Unit's participation in these worthwhile events and promoting the spirit of community policing through their outstanding and civic and personal endeavors. Therefore, based on the awards combination program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I am very pleased to present you with the Prospect Heights Police Department's Honorable Mention Award. Good job.
Will Corporal Deal please step up?
Okay, I'm gonna present a few life-saving awards. Whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the above-named corporal displayed initiative and alertness decidedly in the excess of the norm in that particular instance by responding to the aid of another person facing imminent death and assisting in the saving of a life. Whereas, on June 4th, 2022, Corporal Pardee and Officer Garza's come up here because she's included with us. It's the same. Corporal Deal and Officer Garza observed a male subject down on the ground, not breathing, with no pulse. Corporal Deal and Officer Garza began performing CPR immediately. In addition, Corporal Deal and Officer Garza administered one dose of Narcan. The victim opened his eyes, began breathing, and conversing with Corporal Deal and Garza. Prospect Heights Fire Department transported the victim to the hospital. Thanks to Corporal Deal and Officer Garza's training and quick response, a life was saved that evening. Based on the awards and commendation program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I am very pleased to present both of you with the Prospect Heights Department Life Savings Award.
Good job. Will Officer Cerniak please step up?
Mr. Busy Mike Cerniak, very busy guy. Thank you. Whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the above-named officer displayed initiative and alertness decidedly in excess of the norm. In this particular instance, by responding to the aid of another person facing imminent death and assisting in the saving of a life. Whereas on May 14, 2022, Officer Mike Cerniak responded to the call for a hospital drug overdose. Upon his arrival, Officer Cerniak learned that the victim became unresponsive after using heroin. Officer Cerniak observed the victim to be unresponsive, no pulse, and not breathing. Officer Cerniak administered 2 doses of Narcan and began performing CPR chest compressions. The victim began breathing shortly after and was transported to the hospital by Prospect Heights Fire Department. Thanks to Officer Cerniak's training and quick response, a life was saved that evening. Therefore, based on the awards and commendations program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I am very pleased to present you with the Prospect Heights Police Department's Life Savings Award.
Officer Blanco and Officer Lair, please step up.
Again, 2 life-saving awards. Whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the above-named officers displayed initiative and alertness decidedly in excess of the norm in this particular instance by responding to the aid of another person facing imminent death and assisting in a life-saving. Whereas, on February 22nd, 2022, Officer Wilbert Blanco and Officer Barrett Lord responded to a call for a possible drug overdose. Upon their arrival, officers observed a male subject laying on the floor, not conscious, taking shallow rest. Officer Blanco and Laird learned that the male subject had ingested heroin. Officers administered 2 doses of Narcan. The victim began gasping for air shortly after that was transported to the hospital by the Prospect Heights Fire Department. Thanks to their training and quick response, another life was saved that evening. Therefore, based on the awards and commendations program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I'm very pleased to present both of you with Prospect Heights Life Savings Award.
754 Sussex Corner, Prospect Heights. What ward is that?
So they each saved a life here, now they're each going to save another life separately. So here, whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that Officer Blanco displayed initiative and alertness decidedly in excess of the norm. In this particular instance, by responding to the aid of another person facing imminent death and assisting in saving of a life. Whereas on August 14, 2022, Officer Wilbert was conducting routine patrol in the Motel 6 parking lot located at 540 North Milwaukee, Prospect Heights, Illinois, when the male subject came up to the officer, running, informing him that his friend was overdosing on heroin in a nearby vehicle. Officer Blanco ran over to the vehicle and observed a female unconscious and not breathing in the vehicle. Officer Blanco administered 2 doses of Narcan. The victim began gasping for air shortly after and was transported to the hospital by the Prospect Heights Fire Department. Thanks to Officer Blanco's training and quick response, life was saved that evening. Therefore, based on the awards and commendations program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I'm very pleased to present you, Officer Blanco, with the Prospect Heights Life Saving Award.
Good job.
That's a lot of life savings. Whereas, while it is understood that excellent police work is done routinely by good officers and civilian employees, let it be known that the above-named officer Barrett displayed initiative and alertness decidedly in excess of the norm. In this particular instance, by responding to the aid of another person facing imminent death and assisting in saving yet another life. Whereas, on April 11, 2022, Officer Barrett responded to a call referencing an unresponsive male. Upon arrival, Officer Barrett observed the male subject to be blue and cold to the touch. Officer Barrett administered 2 doses of Narcan and began performing CPR. The victim began showing signs of agno breathing shortly after and was transported to the hospital by the Prospect Heights Fire Department. Thanks to you, Officer Barrett, training and quick response of another life was saved that afternoon. Therefore, based on the awards and commendations program of the Prospect Heights Police Department, I'm very pleased to present you with the Prospect Heights Police Department's Life Savings Award.
Will Officers Sigsworth and Cerniak please step up?
AIM, Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists, they request reports, DUI reports annually. And this organization would like to recognize both of these officers for their outstanding DUI enforcement through the year. And they send them a certificate for appreciation. They both did a great job in the year 2022, as well as all of our officers do. But typically, they go with the most DUIs throughout the year. So I'm just proud to present this certificate from AIM, Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists, to Officer Mike Sarniak and Bradley Sigler.
Good job, sir.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, everybody. Officers, you probably can leave now, right? Thank you.
I would also like to recognize the fact that we have two of our police commissioners with us this evening. Thank you for being here, and you always help to ensure that we continue to have an excellent department, which we do. And so I thank all of the officers and personnel. You do an excellent job, and we're proud of each and every one of you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you. I think that pretty much took care of our audience. We're pausing for just a moment while they exit for some pictures and some congratulations. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Moving on, we have an additional presentation. We have an informational presentation by Prospect Heights Park District regarding the bond referendum for the replacement of the Gary Morava Center and the new aquatic center and sundry improvements. We do have Christina Ferraro with us this evening. We appreciate you being here, and we're anxious to hear your presentation.
Thank you, and thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to see a lot of you. I know that's going to be up there, but I will do a little bit more talking. So thank you for allowing me to come here to speak to you. The staff has been working very hard to make sure that we get timely and accurate information out to the residents. So that's what I'm here for this evening. So what is it? Mayor Dolik basically said that, but the actual ballot question on November 8th is going to be a $30 million bond referendum to raise revenue to replace the Gary Morava Rec Center, the Lions Park Pool, and the playground, in addition to the existing tennis courts to include pickleball and basketball. So throughout this process, several have asked, why now? Why are we pursuing this right now? And we've been seeing a reoccurring theme in the past two processes that we've been going through for the master plan. So basically for the past 10 to 12 years, we've consistently been told that we need to update the recreation center. And it served us well for the past 46 years, but the needs have changed over that time. And the facility is nearing the end of its life, which is about 50 years. So we're at that 46-year mark right now. And most recently, we have heard that people would really like the pool to be updated. It was last updated in '96, and I know that feels as if that's not that long ago, but it's really ending the near of its life because typically pools last about 30 years as well. So, and the kids are asking for more amenities. Currently, there's one slide, and the pool is very small, as you know. So basically, it's for the little ones, the little tots, we'd like to say. And it does well for our swim team as well as our camp program and that. There have been issues with the current tennis courts as are over in Lions Park. It's due to the subsurface, and we have a very high water table there, so we have really been struggling because the surface has been cracking, and staff has been trying to repair them, and it's becoming quite costly. So we're trying to keep up with that. And the need for pickleball and the outdoor basketball have also been a reoccurring theme, so they've been added to the same area as the current tennis courts. So as all of Lions Park is being updated, that means that we can double the size of the current parking lot. So the administrative house, as we like to call it, the administrative building that looks like a residential home along with the garage would both be demolished. And all of the staff and belongings would be absorbed into the recreation center. And we would be moving the playground adjacent to the building. It's just a little bit more safer than currently the kids are walking back and forth in that parking lot. It's not as safe as we'd like it to be. And we would also be building a garage on the property. And if I can do this. Yep, okay. So the garage is right here to the north. That's basically going to be built to serve as quarters for the Parks Department, for their staff, as well as equipment, the buses, any of the vehicles, that kind of thing. So if the referendum is successful, there are benefits to the community, obviously. Consistently, we have been asked for a suspended walking track. So that is being planned over the basketball court. There we go, you can see that. Right now we have one gymnasium. It does not have air conditioning, and we are having foundation problems. So a second gym would be there, 2 full-size basketball courts, 2 full-size fitness rooms, which are on this page. So this is the second level. Those would be used for exercise and dance along with the fitness room that is there. There are also family changing stations. That's versus the men and women's locker room that we currently have that are aging. There is a second water slide on the pool piece of that, and a separate pool entry, so individuals would no longer have to go through the rec center in order to get into the pool area. And just basically updated amenities. The building is a little tired. If you've been there, you would see that. So we are trying our best to keep up, and I think staff has done a really good job with it. So what feedback have we received thus far? We've been having lots of discussions with residents and doing presentations like this. Moving forward, we will be doing informational sessions. We're calling them playground huddles. So through October, we'll be going throughout the community, mostly on Saturday and Sundays. We do have one evening in there, and just talking to residents. We're also trying to get to the condo associations and whatnot, just to make sure that everyone has the accurate information. Obviously, the newspaper and social media, you'll see the yard signs and banners and that kind of thing. And so far, it has been favorable because, like I said, if you've been on the grounds, you'll see that it is very tired looking. And similar to the community assessments, we've been told that everything we've been planning is terrific. And as much as they think it's terrific, there obviously is some concern over the $30 million price tag, as you can imagine. So several have questioned that. And a home assessed at $200,000 will see a tax impact of about $25 a month or $300 a year. So there's also a tax calculator that is on our website that you can go to for more accurate numbers. So some have asked, why now? Others have said this should have been done sooner. Some have asked, is this the correct economic conditions today to take this on? Others have said it will only get more expensive if we wait. Some have asked, can we do parts of this project and do this over several years? And the rec center itself is going to cost $18 million, and the pool is $7 million. So if we ask for $18 million now, Obviously, we'd be back in a few years looking for 7 million for the pool, and at that point, the 7 million would increase, as you can imagine. And some have asked why the Park District hasn't saved money for this project. So the district receives about $2.2 million each year in property taxes to support operations, and about $225,000 a year for capital. So capital is 14 park sites and all the playgrounds that go along with that, the equipment, the tennis courts, the bike path, the pool, the rec centers, heating, air conditioning, as you can imagine. So the $225,000, I think we've done really well with maintaining what we have. So that is a very good, positive part of this. But like I said, it's ending the near of life. And some have commented that the additional tax impact will be less than the non-resident rates that they are being charged when they have to go to other parks because we can't provide what they're looking for. We're also seeking grants. We've been very diligent about trying to talk to legislators about grants and whatnot in order to help this. And like I said, the positive feedback has been wonderful, but basically it's the tax impact that people are very concerned about. So what happens if this is not successful? Basically, the proposed capital projects will be deferred or not done at all. In the current plan, the major improvements of that $225,000 is spread very thin, right? So it's between 5 and 10 years that we're getting to certain projects. And what happens if it is successful? In November, if it's successful, all of 23 would be basically a design phase review, getting more feedback from individuals as well as permits and that kind of thing. So it would be about a 24-month process, so 2024 and 25 should the whole thing be successful, and we should be opening a new building fall of 25. So it's obviously not happening overnight. The information is in your packets. Maybe I will just show these just to make sure that people at home can see them as well. But these are the concepts for you to view. If you have any questions, happy to answer. Staff's working really hard to make sure that the accurate information is online. So we just keep sending everyone to the same place, which is pageparks.org and then /future planning. And it's consistently being updated to make sure that we're getting the information out there. And I do want to note, and I know that you know this, but the Park District boundaries are not the same as the city boundaries, obviously. So this will be on the ballot for Park District residents. And so the Park District, Prospect Heights Park District serves portions of Prospect Heights, Mount Prospect, Wheeling, and Arlington Heights. So it still affects 16,000 people, but it's not certain portions of Prospect Heights, as you know. So I think that is all I have for you. Does anyone have any questions or feedback?
Just for clarification, this is on the November ballot, is that correct?
November 8th of this year, right.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Christina?
I got a question, Christina. Did your picnic, like picnic areas in the back area, even in the back where people, if they want to have like a little picnic in the back?
So currently we do, it's the pavilion area with the grassy area that is over by the playground.
Okay.
We are hoping to include something similar to that over by the tennis courts. If you can see this white little, that's the shelter piece.
Okay.
This over here is the playground, this red piece.
Okay.
That's going to be the playground, and we are hoping to put some sort of shelter there so that moms who are there to watch their kids play baseball will also have their kids nearby on the playground, and there would be a shelter there. So keep in mind that these are not definite, they're just concepts. So we've had a lot of feedback from individuals. They've also asked this entrance right here at the parking for the entrance, people have asked if we can move that a little bit. You know, there's lots of this that will be moving. And then we had also talked about the request for having a outdoor walking track, which is really more of to walk laps throughout the park and then like a sidewalk on the side. So just more feedback that we're getting from people, which is appreciative. So this is definitely not finite. We still have a lot of work to do should it be successful.
Okay, so, and also with the 30 million, I know you said that it wouldn't begin until 24 or 25. Would that price increase? You know, you're saying 30 million now, but by the time it actually starts and everything, do you think it's gonna be a lot more than 30 million maybe?
I believe it will be, which means that some of this may have to be scaled back a bit. So we've been working with our architects in order to get that information, but we do know that some of this will have to change just because of the situation economically.
And then you said that you were applying for some grants?
Yes. We were fortunate to get the OSLOD grant, so we would definitely be applying for that. And there's also a park grant, PARC.
Okay.
We'll be applying for that, and then we're consistently looking for grants through our foundation.
Okay, thank you.
So if you know of any, happy to look into them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Okay.
If not, thank you very much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. We appreciate it. Item 5, there are no appointments or confirmations this evening. It brings us to item 6, public comment on agenda matters. Deputy Clerk Schulteis, is anyone registered, or is there anyone who wishes to speak?
No one has registered.
All right, thank you. Moving on, there is no consent agenda. That brings us to old business. Item A, staff memo and ordinance updating Title 12, fines and fee schedule to include recently passed ordinance changes. This is a second reading this evening. Joe, if you care to explain this once again. I believe it's more of a housekeeping matter.
It is,
but,
that's exactly what it is. It's a matter of really collecting any changes that we've made recently in fines and fees. It would reflect the recent, I think, April water rate increase, a change to the escrow of funds for development, those matters that have gone before the council. But this is a way to put this together into one source, which makes it easier for citizens as well as city staff.
Thank you. Then could I have a motion to approve item O2225?
So moved.
So moved. Second, Morgan Adams.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or discussion? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Ludwigson?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Alderman Dash?
Aye.
Mayor Dolick?
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 8B, staff memo and ordinance establishing a local motor fuel tax in the city of Prospect Heights, Cook County, Illinois. Again, this is a second reading. And we do have the option of imposing a 1 cent, 2 cent, or 3 cent gas tax, or to do nothing at all. And Joe, if you have anything additional you want to discuss on this before we open it up for
Sure.
discussion.
Recently, the state legislature allowed non-home rule communities, of which Prospect Heights is one. We've limited resource base. Other home rule communities have had this ability for several years now, many years now. But for cities such as Prospect Heights, the estimate is, I think, for about every penny would be approximately $30,000. And if I'm incorrect, Sherry, please let me know. So 30,000, 60,000, or 90,000. It's just the sense of it's available to the council, and whichever your desire is.
All right, thank you, Joe. Before I make a request for a motion, I just wanted to determine what we want to do here, so I'd like to open it up for discussion and actually hear from each alderman as far as what our wishes are. We'll start with Alderman Cameron, please.
I think it's a good idea for the city. Are you looking for like a percentage, like how?
We have to decide on an amount. It's cents per gallon. It's 1 cent, 2 cents, or 3 cents per gallon.
Okay, I mean, I would agree with the 2 cents
Okay.
per gallon.
Alderman Ludvixson, I know you expressed some concerns about this at the last meeting, but
Yeah, I think it's important. Is Sherry here?
yes.
How much, I mean, the state has given us this ability to do this, maybe because they feel bad for taking money in other locations, other spots that we're used to getting, but how much are we down on any kind of regular basis from the change in the amount of money we've received from the state for the income tax?
The income taxes actually are over our conservative budget lately in terms of that type of tax. Motor fuel tax has not,
No, but I mean, they've changed, didn't they change the rate I'm talking about the.
Local government distributive
Right,
fund.
distributive fund. And that's never been fully put back.
it
correct?
was not, and they proposed that it would be, but it did not change. There's no change.
So they cut us
They cut us and we're still
a
cut.
pretty good chunk.
Yeah. It-
So we promised we'll give it back, but here you go,
I think it was 10%,
charge this
but it was. a
gas
few years
tax to
ago.
make up for it. You know, so we have to be the bad guy, even though they took our money and now have offered us this way to recoup it. So, you know, we're put in this position, we don't make the rules, unfortunately. We have to follow what Springfield tells us, and as bad as we think the federal government can be at times, Springfield can be worse. So, you know, I don't like this, but, you know, this is the hand we're dealt. But I would agree with the 2%, the 2 cent rate.
Thank you. Alderman Wendy Morgan Adams, your opinions?
Yes, I would agree with Pat. You know, the situation with the taking of our local government distributive fund, the 4% that we will actually, it was restored. We didn't even have 6%. Now we have there's a 6 and a percentage point we have, but we're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with respect to the 4% we haven't recovered. So this is a minor, you know, gift. I don't know, gift, a minor benefit we can make available to us. I think the 2 cents is reasonable. Based on that, you're looking at a very small, maybe 50 cents. If somebody fills up their car, it might be as much as 50 cents it's going to cost them. It's not a big deal, but it is, you know, I think based on the entire situation overall, I think it's reasonable, and I don't think it's a burden on anyone in particular. And also, you know, we're looking at people from outside of Prospect Heights to be filling their cars as well as people in Prospect Heights. So I'm thinking that, you know, this will be something that there'll be a benefit to the city, that at least it gives us something back.
Thank you. Alderman Dash?
I would support the 2 cents.
All right, thank you. I would agree that 2 cents would be an appropriate amount. It's always challenging for a non-home rule city to get any additional revenue, and I think that would help. One last question to Joe. I know we had one written feedback from a station owner last meeting. Have we gotten any other responses from any of the?
No, the only one was from Mr. Schutz.
Okay. All right, thank you. It sounds like we are all in agreement. Then could I have a motion, and Ms. City Attorney, you can help me correct my language here if you need to. A motion to establish a local motor fuel tax in the city of Prospect Heights of 2 cents per gallon.
Yes.
Could I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Unless there's any further discussion, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvixson,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Mayor Dolick.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. That brings us to new business. Request by Corporation Council for the first waiver first reading. Staff memo on ordinance terminating the designation of the Palatine Road redevelopment project area as created by the City of Prospect Heights. Ordinance numbers 09806 and 09807, 09808, adopted January 22nd, 1998 as a tax increment financing redevelopment project area and dissolving the Palatine Road redevelopment project area special tax increment allocation fund by the City of Prospect Heights. This is a waiver of first reading, but before we take action on that, Joe, would you care to elaborate on this
Sure.
complex language?
By state statute, a TIF has a period of 23 years, in which case after that time has elapsed, there's a process for ending the TIF as what's proposed by ordinance, and redistributing whatever might be left in the fund to the impacted taxing districts. Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's approximately $800,000 that will be distributed back to the taxing districts. This is after all of the city's obligations have been accounted for and paid for. So this, following the course of the state law, this is the process for ending a TIF and distributing the remaining proceeds.
All right, thank you. This is the waiver of first reading. Could I have a motion to waive first reading?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Mayor Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Next item is the second reading of this same motion. Staff memo on ordinance terminating the designation of the Palatine Road redevelopment project area created by the City of Prospect Heights. Ordinance numbers 09806, 09807, and 09808. Adopted January 22nd, 1998 as a tax increment funding redevelopment project area and dissolving the Palatine Road redevelopment project area special tax increment allocation fund by the City of Prospect Heights in Cook County, Illinois. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, Morgan Adams.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion or questions for Joe or our finance director?
Just want to say this is like an end of an era in Prospect Heights for anybody who knows the history of this, so I'm glad to see it go.
Well put. If there is no other discussion, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Mayor Dolick.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item C is a waiver of first reading. Staff memo and ordinance deeming certain funds in the Milwaukee Avenue Palatine Road redevelopment project area as surplus funds and directing the payments and distribution thereof by the City of Prospect Heights, Cook County, Illinois. Again, this is a waiver of first reading. And once again, Joe, if you have anything additional you would like to explain here?
No, I kind of collapsed the two into one. It's, by law, it provides the process of ending the TIF through an ordinance and then distributing the fund balance.
Thank you. Then could I entertain a motion to waive first reading, please?
So moved, Morgan Adams.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Cameron,
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Mayor Dolick.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is the second reading of this issue. Staff memo on ordinance deeming certain funds in the Milwaukee Avenue Palatine Road redevelopment project area as surplus funds and directing the payment and distribution thereof by the City of Prospect Heights, Cook County, Illinois. Could I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or questions? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Dolick,
Aye.
Alderman Dash,
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams,
Aye.
Alderman Ludvixson,
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Brings us to staff and elected official reports. We'll just run through the list real quick. Ward 1, Michelle Cameron.
No report, thank you.
Ward 2, Alderman Ludvixson.
No report. Thank you.
Ward 3, Wendy Morgan Adams.
I want to wish all my Jewish friends a very happy New Year, 5783, and an easy fast for Yom Kippur. Starts Tuesday night through Tuesday sundown to Wednesday sundown. I also want to thank Joe Wade and Peter Falcone for assisting me and working with me on legislative issues to submit to the Northwest Municipal Conference Legislative Committee. We've identified 3 major areas, and I want to also thank this chief, Kevin Negro, for also assisting us. He did a great job in working with us as well. There's 3 major areas that we've identified so far. One is the Drone Surveillance Act that is currently too restrictive, and it should be amended to allow police departments to fly drones for testing large public community events, community marketing, and et cetera. And the conference should support this House bill. The second one is to restore the local government distributive fund, which we just discussed, and protect municipal revenues. As we discussed before, we had 10%, they took our 10% and reduced it down. We're up to 6 and 6 in a percentage, and we like to restore the other 4%. We're working on first for 2% for this assembly year, and we want to be able to restore the local government distributive fund and continue to protect against other reductions of state collected local revenues. And the third major item has to do with the Safety Act. And Chief, thank you for all your assistance on this. There's a lot of reform that needs to be done and a lot of proposed legislative issues that need to be dealt with. So I won't go through all of them because they're so numerous, but I know Peter is, am I correct, Peter? You're going to draft this, we're going to review it and then circulate it to the council for their review and comments. Is that correct? I'm sorry, you can't hear me?
Difficult to hear. Were you asking a question?
I was asking, were you able to hear me throughout or no?
We can't hear you well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if
I was
Rick
asking-
can-
She was asking whether you were going to,
I was asking if Peter was going to,
I'm sorry, Wendy, I can't hear too well here in the corner. But, yeah, once I get the I'm just waiting on some information from Alderperson Morgan Adams. I will be putting together a memo that we're going to just make sure everything's great, and then we are going to get it out to the council members so the council members can see what we as a city would like to propose to the Northwest Municipal Conference as far as legislative items that are important to us. And as Wendy mentioned, local government distributive fund is very important, getting that back to the 10%. We also have a drone, police drones is something important to us, and then a number of issues with the proposed Safety Act. So all that information will be coming out for me shortly, hopefully tomorrow, fairly quickly.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman Danielle Dash?
No report.
And I have no report. City Treasurer Rich Tibbetts?
No report tonight.
Thank you. City Administrator Joe Wade?
No report, thank you.
Assistant Administrator Peter Falcone?
No report, thank you, sir.
Finance Director Sherry Griffin?
Just wanted to mention the August financial report was in the agenda packet. We are currently right on target on our budget, 32% of the year, and our revenues are at about 39%. Just a couple of revenue items to highlight. The income tax is over budget. There was a change in the tax payments from S-corps and partnerships this past year, and rather than paying when the tax return is due, they were required to pay estimates throughout the year. So our revenue came in a lot sooner than what it did historically. That's why we're at the 52% mark there. Hotel taxes is strong. All the past due amounts have been collected, and everyone's paying pretty currently. Occupancy rates continue to grow, so we will expect that revenue stream to regain where it used to be. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you. Before we move on, does anyone have any additional questions for Director Grafen? All right, thank you. Director of Building and Development, Mr. Peterson.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Public Works Director, Mark Roscoe.
Thank you, sir. Just a quick report. Hydrant flushing was completed last week. We had, it's good to keep our system healthy. We try to flush out twice a year. As we move on, we talked tonight a little bit about the Park District. Just a kind of a heads up, Public Works and Engineering and staff have been talking with River Trails Park District regarding the Willow Trails Park. They're working on a rejuvenation plan. Willow Trails Park is the Burning Bush and Apple Drive. It's on the edge of Ward 1 and Ward 4. It's a very active park. It's been deteriorating for years, and the River Trails Park District has been actively putting together a plan. They have an OSLOD grant coming along. They have their own money going into it. It's not the scale of the Prospect Heights plan, because this is just a single park, not a building and a pool and things. But the community over there has needed improvement there, and River Trails is working towards it. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because we're actively working with them on stormwater management. So part of their plan is going to incorporate an assistance for more stormwater management in the neighborhood. So that's kind of how we get into that little part of it. So time frame wise, they're looking at starting on playground equipment in the spring. As we move towards, they'll be doing stages. So maybe another year or so out, the stormwater part comes into play. Arlington Countryside is moving along. There is a shortage still on the pumps and controls. They were expecting it this week, and it sounds like they're at least another 2 weeks out. But that is progressing, and I'll keep you guys updated when we get closer to firing that baby up. So thank you, sir. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mark. Police Chief Bill Caponegro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. We currently have 3 of our officers, 2 of our new from the academy, 1 lateral. They're in training. They're in week 4. Anticipate for the first time in maybe 2 years to be at full staff in about 2 months. And as witnessed by the presentation of the awards, our officers are saving lives, deeply involved in the community events, getting narcotics and guns off the street, all that during a time when we were short, and they were working very hard on their regular duties as well as being involved in the community. So I'll reiterate that we should all be proud of them because they've been doing a terrific job. And we're even going to do greater things once we get up to full staff for the first time in 2 years. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Clerk Schultheis.
No report, thank you.
Anything from our city attorney?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. And Digital Communications Technician Patrick Colvin.
No report, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. That brings us to discussion topics for the October workshop meeting. We have the review of the city liquor licenses, and I know Alderman Lovickson, you were going to compose some of this that we can review rather than just getting into a discussion without any reference, so we appreciate
Yes,
that.
I'll work with Joe. I've not spoke with him yet, but we'll get together this week.
Thank you, sir. That should occupy our time for that meeting, so I appreciate it. That brings us to the approval of warrants. Deputy Clerk Schultheis.
Thank you. We have a total warrant of $1,063,938.49. On wire payments, we have a 9/9/2022 payroll, $165,246.34. A 9/22/2022 police pension funding of $117,355.09 for a total warrant of $1,346,539.92.
And could I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections? There being none, could I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Dash?
Aye.
Mayor Dolick?
Aye.
Alderman Cameron?
Aye.
Alderman Morgan Adams?
Aye.
Alderman Ludwigson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Brings us to public comments on non-agenda matters. Has anyone registered or anyone wishes to speak?
No. Oh, I don't know. No, no one has, thank you.
All right, thank you. There is no executive session tonight, so that brings us to adjournment. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.